The sound pierces through the penthouse like a siren in the dark, a baby's cry cutting through the marble and glass fortress where silence has reigned for years. Min-jae freezes mid-step, his hand trembling on the crystal tumbler because that sound, that impossibly small voice, reaches into his chest and squeezes something he thought had died long ago. In the kitchen below, Stacy Orlo holds her daughter against her racing heart, terrified that the cold billionaire who employed her will fire them both for this disturbance, never knowing that upstairs, the most powerful man in New York is coming undone. Welcome to Afro-Seoul Stories. Please like, share, and subscribe. Min-jae stands perfectly still in his office, the quarterly reports forgotten on his desk. The crying continues, muffled by floors and walls but somehow louder than anything else in his world. 7 months. He's known his private chef had a daughter for 7 months, had seen the child carrier in the staff quarters, had signed off on the modified schedule that allowed Stacy to work around the baby's needs. He had never heard the child cry before. His staff is too efficient, too careful to let such disruptions reach him. But tonight something has changed. Tonight the nanny called in sick and Stacy had no choice but to bring little Daisy to work, and now Min-jae's carefully constructed world is crumbling around the sound of an infant's distress. He sets down the tumbler and walks to the stairs. His head of security, Ji-hoon, materializes from the shadows. The crying has stopped. Min-jae keeps walking anyway. The kitchen gleams in the recessed lighting, all stainless steel and Italian marble. Stacy stands near the prep station, her daughter against her shoulder, swaying in that ancient rhythm mothers have used since the beginning of time. She hasn't seen him yet. Min-jae watches from the doorway as she hums something low and sweet, her hand rubbing circles on the baby's back. Stacy's hair falls in natural coils around her shoulders, escaped from the neat bun she'd started the day with. Her chef's coat is wrinkled, spotted with what might be formula or baby food. She looks exhausted. She looks beautiful. Min-jae's throat tightens. Daisy hiccups against her mother's neck, tiny fingers curled into Stacy's collar. The baby's skin is a shade lighter than Stacy's deep brown, her hair a mass of dark curls. She can't be more than 7 months old. So small. So fragile. Min-jae has built an empire on steel and strategy, has stared down corporate rivals and political enemies without flinching, but this tiny human terrifies him in ways he doesn't understand. Stacy turns and startles, her eyes going wide. "Mr. Lee, I'm so sorry. I know the contract specifies no disturbances. The nanny had a family emergency and I couldn't find backup and I thought if I kept her quiet, if I worked during her naps, you wouldn't even know we were here." The words tumble out fast and desperate. She's afraid. Afraid of him. Something in Min-jae's chest cracks. He steps into the kitchen. "Is she all right?" Stacy blinks. Yes. She's teething. Just fussy. I'm sorry for the noise." Min-jae moves closer, drawn by something he can't name. Daisy has settled now, her cheek against her mother's shoulder, watching him with dark, curious eyes. She doesn't cry. She just stares at him with the unfiltered honesty only babies possess, as if she can see straight through his expensive suit and cold reputation to whatever remains of his soul. "How long have you been working here?" Min-jae asks, though he knows the answer. He knows everything about his staff. 8 months, sir." Stacy's voice is steadier now, though her grip on Daisy tightens protectively. 8 months. She'd been heavily pregnant when she interviewed, her belly unmistakable at 32 weeks. He remembers the interview, remembers the way she'd walked into his office with her shoulders back despite her obvious discomfort, her portfolio of culinary credentials that had impressed even his impossible standards. She'd trained in Paris and New York, had worked in Michelin-starred restaurants, spoke Korean well enough to shop the traditional markets for ingredients. She was overqualified for a private position. He'd wondered why she wanted the job. He'd hired her anyway, unable to explain even to himself why he couldn't let her walk back out of his life. "The baby can stay," Min-jae hears himself say. When you need to bring her. Stacy's shock is visible. Sir. The nanny situation. It's unreliable. Bring the child when necessary. I'll have Ji-hoon arrange proper accommodations in the staff wing. A crib. Whatever else is needed. Min-jae doesn't look at Stacy as he speaks. He keeps his eyes on Daisy, who has started to gnaw on her own fist, drooling contentedly. Mr. Lee, that's incredibly generous, but I can't. You can. His tone brooks no argument. You're the best chef I've ever employed. I won't lose you to inadequate childcare. It's logical. Practical. It has nothing to do with the way his heart hammered when he heard that cry, nothing to do with the strange pull he feels toward this woman and her child. Nothing at all. Stacy studies him for a long moment. Thank you, she says quietly. Min-jae nods once and turns to leave. He makes it 3 steps before Daisy makes a sound, not a cry but a coo, bright and musical. He stops. Against every instinct for self-preservation, he looks back. The baby is reaching toward him, tiny hand opening and closing in the air. She likes you, Stacy says, surprise and something softer in her voice. Min-jae has never held a baby. Has never wanted to. But he finds himself walking back, finds his hand extending almost without his permission. Daisy's fingers wrap around his index finger, her grip surprisingly strong. She beams at him, all gums and joy, and Min-jae feels something shift in his chest, something fundamental and irreversible, like a lock turning after years of being rusted shut. He carefully extracts his finger and leaves the kitchen without another word. In his office, he pours himself another drink with shaking hands. Through the floor, he can hear Stacy singing softly to her daughter. Min-jae closes his eyes and admits what he's been denying for 8 months. He's in trouble. The kind of trouble that no amount of money or power can fix. The next morning, Stacy arrives to find the staff wing transformed. A nursery has appeared overnight, complete with a designer crib, changing station, and enough toys to stock a small store. She stands in the doorway holding Daisy, overwhelmed. This is too much. This is dangerous. Men like Lee Min-jae don't do things without expecting something in return. But when she goes to the kitchen to start breakfast, she finds only a note in Min-jae's precise handwriting, for the child's comfort. No debt incurred. Stacy tucks the note into her pocket and tries to ignore the way her heart speeds up. The pattern establishes itself over the following weeks. Stacy brings Daisy to work 3 or 4 days a week, settling her in the beautiful nursery during meal prep. Min-jae never mentions the arrangement, never comes to the staff wing, maintains his distance. But Stacy notices things. The organic baby food that appears in the pantry, high-end brands she could never afford. The collection of board books in Korean and English stacked beside the crib. The white noise machine that helps Daisy sleep through her naps. He's watching us, Stacy tells her best friend Esther over video chat one night. Not in a creepy way. In a, I don't know, protective way. Esther raises an eyebrow. Girl, the man is one of New York's most eligible bachelors. Ice King of Manhattan. You're telling me he's playing fairy godfather to your baby? I know how it sounds. Do you like him? Stacy's silence is answer enough. Stacy. He's my employer, Esther. A billionaire. We live in completely different worlds. And besides, I have Daisy to think about. I can't afford to lose this job by developing some stupid crush on my boss. But it's too late for that, and they both know it. Min-jae tells himself he's being practical. A happy employee is a productive employee. The chef's personal life is stable, therefore the quality of his meals remains consistent. It's simple business logic. It has nothing to do with the way he started timing his evening walks to coincide with Daisy's bedtime, nothing to do with how he sometimes stands outside the nursery door just to hear Stacy singing lullabies in English and Igbo, her voice rich and warm. Nothing to do with the fact that he's memorized their schedule, knows when Stacy will be in the kitchen and when she'll be with her daughter. He's being practical when he extends her health insurance to include premium pediatric care. Practical when he arranges for a company car to ensure she doesn't have to navigate public transportation with an infant. Practical when he increases her salary without being asked, because he's researched the cost of raising a child in New York and knows she must be struggling. Ji-hoon watches all of this with knowing eyes but says nothing. The rest of the staff whispers. The untouchable Lee Min-jae, who hasn't been in a relationship in the 6 years since his fiancée's death, who has built walls so high nobody can scale them, is falling for his chef and her baby. Min-jae overhears 2 housekeepers gossiping and fires them both. The gossip stops. The truth remains. One evening, Stacy finishes preparing a complex multi-course dinner for Min-jae's business associates and returns to the nursery to find Daisy screaming, face red, inconsolable. Teething has progressed to agony. Nothing helps. Not the frozen rings, not the numbing gel, not the rocking or singing or desperate prayers. Daisy wails and Stacy feels helpless, feels like a failure, feels the weight of doing this alone crushing down on her shoulders. She doesn't hear Min-jae enter. Doesn't know he's there until he speaks. May I? Stacy looks up, tears on her own cheeks now. Min-jae stands in the nursery doorway in his Tom Ford suit, looking utterly out of place among the pastel colors and stuffed animals. His dinner guests are waiting. He should be entertaining them, closing whatever deal brought them to his home. Instead he's here, hands extended, asking permission. Stacy is too exhausted to question it. She passes Daisy over, expecting the baby to scream harder at the unfamiliar hands. But something miraculous happens. Daisy's crying stutters, stops. She stares up at Min-jae with wide, wet eyes, hiccuping little sobs. Min-jae holds her with surprising competence for someone who claimed to have no experience with children, one hand supporting her head, the other her tiny body. He begins to walk, a slow measured pace around the room, and starts speaking in Korean, his voice low and rhythmic. Stacy doesn't understand all the words, but she recognizes a story, something about a tiger and stars. Daisy's eyes droop. Her fist finds its way to Min-jae's collar, gripping the expensive fabric. Within minutes, she's asleep against his chest. Min-jae keeps walking, keeps speaking softly, as if afraid to break the spell. Stacy watches him, this powerful man rendered gentle by her daughter, and feels something dangerous bloom in her chest. Want. Need. Hope. You have guests, she whispers. They can wait. Min-jae looks down at Daisy, and Stacy sees his expression shift into something vulnerable, something real. He carries Daisy to the crib, lays her down with infinite care. The baby sighs in her sleep, content. Min-jae steps back, and for a moment he looks lost, like a man who's touched something precious and knows he can't keep it. The air between them shifts, charged with something unspoken. Min-jae turns to Stacy, and the distance between them feels both too much and not enough. She can see the conflict in his eyes, the war between control and surrender. Stacy. Her name on his lips sounds different tonight. Raw. Real. She steps closer without meaning to. Min-jae. His hand lifts, hesitates, then cups her face with the same gentleness he'd shown Daisy. His thumb brushes her cheek where tears had tracked moments before. You're an incredible mother. I'm terrified most of the time. That's what makes you incredible. His voice drops lower. You do it anyway. The space between them disappears. Stacy doesn't know who moves first, doesn't care. His lips meet hers and something inside her breaks open. The kiss is soft at first, tentative, like they're both afraid this might shatter. Then Min-jae's other hand finds her waist and pulls her closer and the kiss deepens into something desperate and necessary. When they finally break apart, both breathing hard, Min-jae rests his forehead against hers. I shouldn't have done that. Why not? Because I'm your employer. Because the power dynamic is complicated. Because I swore I'd never feel this way about anyone again. His hands tighten on her. Because now that I've kissed you, I don't know how to stop wanting to. Then don't stop. He kisses her again, slower this time, like he's memorizing the taste of her. When he pulls back, his eyes are darker than she's ever seen them. We should talk about this. About what this means. What does it mean? It means I want to take you to dinner. Properly. Not as your employer. As a man who can't stop thinking about you. He pauses. If you want that. Stacy's heart hammers against her ribs. I want that. Tomorrow night. I'll arrange everything. Childcare, the restaurant. Just say yes. Yes. He leaves reluctantly, looking back twice. Stacy stands in the nursery, her fingers touching her lips, wondering how her entire world just shifted in the space of one kiss. The courtship begins the next evening. Min-jae sends a car for her, arranges for a trusted nanny to stay with Daisy. He takes her to a quiet restaurant in the West Village, the kind of place that doesn't advertise because it doesn't need to. They talk for hours about everything and nothing. He asks about her childhood in Newark, her time in Paris, her dreams beyond cooking. She asks about his life before the walls went up, what makes him laugh, what he's afraid of. You, he admits over dessert. I'm afraid of you. Of how you make me feel. And how do I make you feel? Alive. For the first time in 6 years, I feel alive. He drives her home to Queens himself, walks her to her door. The kiss goodnight is sweet and lingering, full of promise. Over the following weeks, they fall into a pattern. Dinner dates twice a week. Long walks through Central Park at dawn. Him showing up at her apartment with flowers and coffee. Her cooking for him in her tiny kitchen while Daisy plays on the floor. He's patient, respectful, never pushing for more than she's ready to give. They don't cross certain lines. There's an unspoken agreement between them, they're building something real, something worth doing right. One evening, 3 weeks into their courtship, Min-jae picks her up for dinner. They're walking through Soho when Stacy's phone rings. Her mother. She tenses immediately. You should answer, Min-jae says gently. Stacy does, stepping slightly away. Hi, Mom. Stacy. Finally. I've been calling for weeks. You never answer anymore. I've been busy with work and Daisy. Too busy for your own mother. That's disrespectful, you know. I raised you better than that. Diane Orlo's voice sharpens. I saw something online. Photos of you with some Asian man. Who is he? His name is Min-jae. We're seeing each other. Seeing each other. Diane laughs, bitter. What does that mean? Are you sleeping with him? Is that how you're keeping your job now? Stacy's hand tightens on the phone. It's not like that. Isn't it? Stacy, baby, you have to be smart about these things. Men like that, they don't date women like you for the right reasons. You're exotic to him. Something different. And when he gets bored of playing house with someone else's baby. He's not like that. They're all like that. You thought Lucas was different too, remember? Look how that turned out. Diane's voice drops into false sympathy. I'm trying to protect you, sweetheart. You're not sophisticated enough for a man like that. You're going to embarrass yourself trying to fit into his world. You're ordinary, Stacy. There's nothing wrong with ordinary, but you need to accept what you are. The words hit like physical blows. Stacy feels herself shrinking. I have to go. Don't hang up on me. I'm your mother. I deserve respect. And I deserve to know what's happening in my granddaughter's life. You can't just shut me out because you don't like hearing the truth. Goodbye, Mom. Stacy hangs up. Her hands are shaking. Min-jae is beside her immediately. What did she say? Nothing. Just my mom being my mom. Stacy tries to smile but it doesn't reach her eyes. We should go. We'll be late for our reservation. But the evening is ruined. Stacy can't focus on the food, can't engage in conversation. Her mother's words loop in her head, ordinary, embarrassing yourself, he's going to get bored, you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough. Min-jae drives her home in concerned silence. At her door, he takes her hands. Talk to me. I'm fine. You're not fine. Stacy, whatever your mother said. She's right. The words burst out before she can stop them. She's right, Min-jae. Look at us. Look at our lives. You're a billionaire. I live in an apartment in Queens with my baby. What am I doing thinking this could work? Stacy. I need some time. To think. I'm sorry. She goes inside before he can respond. Leans against the door and slides to the floor, crying. The next day, Stacy calls in sick to work. And the day after that. She ignores Min-jae's calls, his texts. Her mother calls twice more, each conversation another assault. I heard he's been calling you. Good. You're coming to your senses. Men like him don't marry women like you, Stacy. They use you and move on. Save yourself the heartbreak. By the third day, Stacy is in full retreat. She's convinced herself her mother is right. She's ordinary. She's going to embarrass herself. Min-jae deserves someone from his world, someone sophisticated and elegant, not a single mother struggling in Queens. On the fourth day, there's a knock at her door. Stacy opens it expecting Esther. Instead, Min-jae stands there, holding flowers and looking worried. You've been avoiding me. I've been sick. You've been hiding. He steps inside without invitation, sets the flowers on her small kitchen counter. What happened, Stacy? After that phone call with your mother, you disappeared. I just needed space to think. About what? About whether this makes sense. About whether I'm setting myself up for failure. She wraps her arms around herself. My mother's right, Min-jae. We're from different worlds. Your mother is wrong. His voice is firm. About everything. Is she? Look at you. Look at me. What do we have in common besides? Besides the fact that I'm falling in love with you? Min-jae crosses to her, takes her shoulders gently. Besides the fact that when I'm with you, I remember what it feels like to be happy. Besides the fact that Daisy has brought more joy into my life in 3 months than I've felt in 6 years. Stacy's eyes fill with tears. You don't love me. You don't even know me. I know you're kind. I know you're strong. I know you make me laugh. I know when you sing to Daisy, it's the most beautiful sound I've ever heard. I know you're terrified of not being enough when you're more than I ever deserved. He cups her face. And I know your mother has spent your whole life making you feel small when you're anything but. She's my mother. She knows me better than anyone. She doesn't know you at all. If she did, she'd see what I see. Someone extraordinary. Someone brave enough to leave an abusive relationship and raise a child alone in a foreign city. Someone talented enough to work in the best restaurants in the world. Someone beautiful and real and perfect exactly as she is. Min-jae. Listen to me, Stacy. I don't care what your mother says. I don't care what world you think you're from. I care about you. And I'm not going anywhere unless you tell me you don't feel the same way. Do you? Is this one-sided? No, she whispers. I feel it too. I'm just scared. Of what? Of you realizing she's right. Of you getting bored. Of Daisy getting attached and then you leaving. Of believing this is real and then losing everything. Min-jae pulls her into his arms. I'm not going to get bored. I'm not going to leave. And this is real, Stacy. More real than anything I've felt since Mi-sun died. He pulls back to look at her. But I need you to fight for this with me. I need you to stop letting your mother's voice be louder than your own. Can you do that? Stacy clings to him, breathing in his scent, feeling safe for the first time in days. I can try. That's all I'm asking. He kisses her forehead. Now, are you going to come back to work or do I have to eat takeout for the rest of my life? She laughs despite herself. I'll come back. Good. Because my business dinner tonight needs your jollof rice and I don't trust anyone else to make it right. They spend the afternoon together, talking through her fears, him reassuring her over and over that she's enough, that they're enough, that her mother's opinion doesn't define her worth. When he finally leaves, Stacy feels lighter. But her mother isn't finished. Diane starts calling daily. Sometimes multiple times a day. Each call is a new attack. I saw you went back to work. So he sweet-talked you back. How long before he shows his true colors? You're making a fool of yourself, Stacy. That baby is going to suffer when this falls apart. You're being selfish. Stacy tries to ignore the calls but they worm into her brain. She starts second-guessing everything. Every date with Min-jae, she wonders if he's secretly judging her. Every kiss, she waits for him to pull away. Every kind gesture, she suspects ulterior motives. Min-jae notices. Your mother called again, didn't she? She just worries. She's poisoning you against us. His jaw tightens. Stacy, you need to set boundaries with her. She's my mother. She's toxic. And she's hurting you. He takes her hands. I'm not asking you to cut her off. I'm asking you to protect yourself. And us. Stacy tries. She starts letting calls go to voicemail. But Diane escalates. She shows up at Stacy's apartment unannounced one Saturday. You've been ignoring me. That's unacceptable. Diane pushes past Stacy into the apartment. Where's my granddaughter? Napping. Good. We need to talk. Diane sits on the couch uninvited. This thing with the billionaire. It needs to end. Mom. I'm serious, Stacy. I've been doing research. Lee Min-jae. His fiancée died 6 years ago. Pregnant. He's never dated anyone since. Diane's eyes sharpen. You're his experiment. His way of testing if he can feel something again. And when he realizes he can't, or when he finds someone more appropriate, you're going to be devastated. That's not what this is. How do you know? Has he introduced you to his family? His friends? Or does he keep you hidden away like a dirty secret? The words hit home because Min-jae hasn't introduced her to his parents yet. They've talked about it, but the timing hasn't been right. Diane sees the flicker of doubt. See? He's ashamed of you. And why wouldn't he be? You're a nobody, Stacy. A single mother working as a glorified maid in his house. You really think his family is going to accept you? You really think you belong in his world? Get out. Stacy's voice shakes. I'm trying to help you. Get out of my apartment. Now. Diane stands, her expression hardening. Fine. But don't come crying to me when this all falls apart. When he breaks your heart and Daisy's asking why the nice man doesn't come around anymore. I warned you. Remember that. She leaves. Stacy locks the door and slides down it, her mother's words echoing, nobody, ashamed, don't belong, don't belong, don't belong. That night, when Min-jae calls to confirm their dinner plans, Stacy cancels. Makes an excuse about Daisy being fussy. The truth is she can't face him. Can't face the question in her own head, why hasn't he introduced her to his parents? Then Lucas appears. He's waiting outside her apartment building when she comes home from grocery shopping. Stacy. We need to talk. Her blood runs cold. I have a restraining order against you. Expired last month. I checked. He smiles, that familiar smile that used to charm her. Relax. I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to talk about Daisy. You signed away your rights. I know. And I regret that. I've been thinking a lot, Stacy. About what I lost. About my daughter growing up without me. He steps closer. She steps back. I want to be involved. Want visitation rights. No. I'm her father. You pushed me while I was pregnant with her. You called her a mistake. You walked away without a second thought. Stacy's voice shakes with rage. You don't get to come back now. Courts might see it differently. Father seeking to make amends, build a relationship with his child. Versus mother who's shacked up with a rich man, using their daughter as a meal ticket. His smile turns cruel. Because that's what you're doing, right? Dating the billionaire to secure your future. That's not. Isn't it? You really think he'd look at you twice if you weren't cooking his food and giving him access to playing daddy with another man's kid? Lucas leans against the building. Tell you what. I'll stay out of your life. Won't file for visitation, won't make trouble. For a price. You're blackmailing me. I'm being practical. 50,000 and I disappear. Cheap price for peace of mind. I don't have that kind of money. But your boyfriend does. Lucas grins. Think about it. I'll be in touch. He walks away, leaving Stacy shaking on the sidewalk. That night, she doesn't sleep. Lucas's threats loop with her mother's poison, using him, meal ticket, nobody, don't belong, going to leave, going to break your heart. The next day, Lucas starts texting. Not threats exactly, but pointed messages. Saw you in the papers again. Daisy's getting big. Would love to see her. Thinking about filing that petition. Lawyer says I have a good case. $50K, Stacy. That's all it takes. Stacy doesn't tell Min-jae. Doesn't tell anyone except Esther, who immediately says, you need to tell Min-jae. He can help. I can't. He'll think I'm using him for money. Just like my mother said. Just like Lucas said. Who cares what they said? Min-jae loves you. He's never said that. Because you won't let him close enough. Esther's voice softens. Girl, you're self-sabotaging. Your mother has you so twisted up you can't see what's right in front of you. But Stacy can't shake it. The doubt has rooted deep. She starts pulling away from Min-jae again. Short answers to his texts. Cancelled dates. Excuses about being tired. Min-jae tries to be patient but after a week, he shows up at her apartment again. What's going on, Stacy? And don't say nothing. I can feel you pulling away. I'm just overwhelmed. With what? Let me help. You can't help with everything, Min-jae. The words burst out. I have my own life, my own problems. I can't just run to you every time something goes wrong. Why not? That's what people who care about each other do. They lean on each other. Because, Stacy's voice breaks. Because my mother's right. Because Lucas is right. Because I don't belong in your world and sooner or later you're going to realize it. Your mother again. Min-jae's expression darkens. What did she say this time? The truth. That I'm nobody. That you're ashamed of me. That you're just using me to feel something again after me son died. Tears streamed down her face. And maybe she's right because you haven't introduced me to your family, haven't made this public, keep me hidden away. Stop. Min-jae crosses to her, grips her shoulders. I haven't introduced you to my parents because I wanted to give us time to build something strong first. Because I wanted you to be sure about us before involving family. And I'm not ashamed of you, Stacy. I'm terrified of you. Terrified that you're going to believe your mother's lies and leave me. She's not lying. Yes, she is. About everything. You're not nobody. You're extraordinary. And I'm not using you. I'm falling in love with you. His voice breaks. And if you can't see that, if you're going to let her poison destroy what we're building, then maybe she's already won. Stacy sobs against his chest. He holds her tight, whispering reassurances, but she can feel how scared he is. Scared of losing her to her own demons. Lucas is back, she finally admits. Wants money to stay away. Threatened to file for visitation. Min-jae goes rigid. How long has this been happening? A week. A week and you didn't tell me? He pulls back, hurt flashing across his face. Stacy, I could have helped. I have lawyers. Resources. I didn't want you to think I was using you for money. But you'd rather handle blackmail alone than trust me? He runs his hand through his hair. This is what your mother's done to you. Made you so afraid of needing help that you'd rather suffer alone. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Just trust me. Please. He cups her face. Let me meet your parents. Let me show you this is real. And let me handle Lucas. Min-jae. This weekend. We go to Connecticut. You meet my parents. They meet you and Daisy. You see that I'm not ashamed, that I want you in every part of my life. His eyes search hers. And then we deal with Lucas together. As a team. Can you do that? Stacy nods, exhausted from fighting alone. That Saturday, they drive to Connecticut. Stacy's nerves are shot. Min-jae keeps one hand on her knee the entire drive. They're going to hate me, she says for the 10th time. They're going to love you, he says for the 10th time. Min-jae's parents' home is beautiful but warm. Yoon-hee opens the door, takes one look at Stacy, and pulls her into a hug. Finally. My son says nothing, then suddenly he brings a beautiful woman and a baby to meet us. Very mysterious. Jae-sung is more reserved but kind. He shakes Stacy's hand, then asks to hold Daisy. The baby goes to him easily, and he speaks to her in Korean with gentle warmth. Over lunch, Min-jae's parents ask about Stacy's cooking, her time in Paris, her plans for the future. They're genuinely interested, genuinely kind. Yoon-hee shares embarrassing stories about Min-jae as a child. Jae-sung shows baby pictures. Then Yoon-hee pulls Stacy aside. My son was dead for 6 years. After me son and the baby, he stopped living. Just breathing. Working. Existing. She takes Stacy's hand. But now he smiles again. He calls us just to talk. He's alive. You did that. You and your beautiful daughter. So thank you. Stacy's eyes fill. I didn't do anything. You loved him. That's everything. Yoon-hee squeezes her hand. Welcome to our family, Stacy. On the drive home, Stacy is quiet. Min-jae glances at her. What are you thinking? That your parents are wonderful. That they actually liked me. She looks at him. I'm sorry I doubted you. Don't apologize. Just believe me next time when I tell you how I feel about you. The next week, Lucas escalates. He starts showing up at her apartment building at random times. Not violating the building itself, just lingering outside where it's legal. It's intimidation and they both know it. He sends photos. Pictures of Daisy through Stacy's window. She's getting so big. Would hate for something to happen. Stacy is terrified. She finally tells Min-jae everything. He goes stone cold with rage. Pack a bag. You and Daisy are staying at the penthouse until this is resolved. Min-jae, I can't just move in. You're not safe here. Lucas is escalating. This isn't a request, Stacy. This is me protecting my family. The word family breaks something loose in her chest. She packs. That night, in the penthouse guest room, Min-jae comes to check on her. Are you okay? I don't know. This is all so much. He sits on the edge of the bed. I'm going to fix this. Lucas won't bother you again. How? Let me worry about that. He kisses her forehead. Just know you're safe here. You and Daisy both. 2 days later, Lucas's lawyer receives a cease and desist from Min-jae's legal team. Along with evidence of his harassment, the expired restraining order petition for renewal, and a promise that any attempt at extortion or intimidation will be met with criminal charges. Lucas tries once more. Shows up at the penthouse. Ji-hoon has him removed by police before he makes it past the gate. The restraining order is renewed and extended. Lucas, facing potential criminal charges, disappears back to Boston. Meanwhile, Diane discovers Stacy is staying at Min-jae's penthouse. She shows up unannounced. I knew it. You moved in with him. How long before he gets tired of playing house? Min-jae appears before Stacy can respond. Mrs. Orlo. Your daughter is staying here for her safety. Lucas Hawthorne was harassing her. Oh please. She's staying here because she's trapped you. Probably got pregnant again to seal the deal. That's enough. Min-jae's voice is ice. You don't get to speak to her like that. Not in my home. Not anywhere. She's my daughter. And she's the woman I love. The woman I'm going to marry. The mother of the child I already consider mine. So you can either accept that and treat her with respect, or you can leave and not come back. Your choice. Diane's eyes widen. She looks at Stacy. Is this what you want? To marry him? Stacy stands, walks to Min-jae's side. Yes. It is. Then you're a fool. But don't come crying to me when it falls apart. Diane leaves. After she's gone, Stacy turns to Min-jae. Did you mean that? About marrying me? Every word. He takes her hands. I know this is fast. I know we haven't even been dating 3 months. But Stacy, I've never been more sure of anything. I love you. I love Daisy. I want to build a life with you both. I love you too. The words feel like freedom. I'm sorry it took me so long to say it. He kisses her, soft and sweet and full of promise. 3 weeks later, Min-jae proposes. Nothing elaborate. Just the two of them in his penthouse after Daisy's asleep. He gets down on one knee and asks her to be his wife. The ring is perfect. Stacy says yes through happy tears. They marry 3 months later in a small ceremony. Esther is there, Min-jae's parents, Ji-hoon, close friends. Daisy toddles down the aisle in a white dress, stealing the show. When the judge pronounces them married, Min-jae kisses his wife like he's sealing a vow that will last lifetimes. Diane doesn't come. Sends a card that says, I hope you know what you're doing. Stacy throws it away. Lucas tries one final move. Files for custody the week after the wedding. Min-jae's lawyers obliterate the case. The judge not only denies custody but orders Lucas to pay court costs and extends the restraining order indefinitely. 6 months after the wedding, Min-jae officially adopts Daisy. He holds the papers and cries. That night, he rocks her to sleep and whispers promises in Korean and English. 14 months after their wedding, Stacy goes into labor. Hanul arrives at dawn, screaming and perfect. Min-jae holds his son and sobs, all his grief and joy tangled together. When they bring Hanul home, Daisy, now almost 2, declares him, my baby, with fierce possession. That night, after both children are asleep, Min-jae holds Stacy in their bed. We made it, he whispers. We made it, she agrees. Through her mother's poison. Through Lucas's threats. Through every obstacle designed to break them. They made it to the other side. Together. Whole. Free. This is their happily ever after. Hard-won and precious. And no one can take it away.